Mike Perry called out Jake Paul ahead of their fight and had some harsh words to say about the problem child.
With that said, Jake, bro, we've never been friends. He's never been cool with me. He wanted to beat me up, and he's a sneaky little snake, and I'm gonna knock the teeth out of his mouth. Fuck you, Jake. I'll beat your ass, bitch. July 20th. Come and see it. Emily Arena, Tampa, Florida. Days in pay-per-view. Mike Perry's gonna beat the shit out of Jake Paul. What?
When asked if he feels any pressure fighting a YouTuber, Perry said that it's just another day at the office for him. Perry explained that he's been fighting for a long time now, and he and his team are working on how to tackle Jake Paul.
Nah, man, I'm doing this for me and my family. I'm focused, my team. We got the plan together. You know, when this fight happened, a lot of people came out the woodwork trying to hit us up, trying to find their way in, and they can't get in because I've been doing it right. I've been doing it my way, and that shit been working, ain't it? And every time, no matter what, how successful it is, somebody want to add something or act like they know what to do, but no one has been in my position. I am the biggest fighter to come out of Central Florida, to come out of Flint, Michigan, to make it to the level I've been at. No one can tell me how to be where I am because they have not been here. And I have been here, and I've been here for a while. For the past 12 years, I've been fighting at the top of the world. So
Perry and Paul do have some history. They briefly trained together a few years back, though Mike says he doesn't think he can take a whole lot from the sparring session. Still, it was enough for Mike to know that Jake's right hand could be a potential problem. He stated, "I know his right hand. I understood it back then when he hit me with it. That's his little thing, and I get it. I got a couple of shots that I'm really good at too. We're both in for a battle. It's gonna be a fight, and it's gonna be a test of whittles." Perry says that it's the biggest fight of his career, and also mentioned how people would discredit him if he beats Jake Paul, assuming that Jake is not a credible fighter. However, Perry said that he's not interested in what people have to say about him and is only focused on the fight and getting the W.
Is this the biggest fight of your career, Mike?
of course it is, you know, and when I beat Jake, they will try to discredit me. It was just a YouTuber, or he was just this, or that was his first real fight. You know, but you know, win or lose, they're gonna discredit. Some will credit, some will be like, oh, we believed in you, I had your back. Others will say, you haven't done anything. The next opponent will definitely, you know, try to talk his shit. So I'm not focused on any of that. I'm focused on my plan, my people, my family, and it's tunnel vision to July 20th.
Mike Perry is confident in finishing Jake Paul and predicts a knockout in the 7th round of the fight. However, he believes the knockout can come quicker if Jake pressures him and forces him to sleep him early in the fight. Perry stated, "I'm saying 7th round, but he seems to be thinking under 3. If he's putting pressure on me to try and get me out of there, I'll get him out of there quicker. When it comes to adrenaline and that July 20th night, I'm gonna be a problem for anyone on this planet." However, recently Paul shared a glimpse of his intense preparation, and it's clear he's not taking his busy schedule lightly. The footage shows him cracking the pads held by his coach with the kind of precision and ferocity that would make any opponent flinch.
I'm in school, Perry. Time to go back to school. Get W at Walmart.
But many believe that Jake bulking up could be the result of steroid use. During a recent podcast appearance, Perry was asked about what the drug testing operation will be for the fight. He stated, well, he's got to be hot. If he went from, 210, if he really did go to 230, he had to use something. I don't know how the testing is going to be. They may test me and not test him. That's fine. I've fought people who are on it. I know I've trained with people who are on the juice. It is what it is. You can test me any day of the week. I eat chicken and steak, and I eat rice, and I train, and I just love to fight. So it's just more of a mentality thing for me. Jake has been accused of using performance enhancement drugs in the past by his opponents. Jake's former opponent, Tyron Woodley, has openly accused Paul of using steroids because of the bumps he had on his face before their fight.
Speaking of bumps,
went right over it.
Those little bumps you had on your face kind of alarmed me. You wouldn't be having to take PEDs, are you?
Listen, if you want to build in excuses right now,
No, I'm just asking.
go ahead.
Because I was just wondering, I looked at
ahead.
your face, it looked kind of serious. You had some rage and you acting all unorthodox, those are signs of the PEDs.
I'm enraged. I'm not enraged at all.
Are you taking PEDs?
No, sir.
Not at all. Okay.
No, sir.
That's
think
what
he's
I
on
feel like.
PEDs?
I don't care. You can be on horse tranquilizer steroids, can get a whole new body from Walmart. You're still getting slept.
However, during a recent YouTube collaboration with his brother Logan Paul, Jake was stripped to a lie detector and asked if he takes steroids. At first he tried to duck the question, but then said no, to which the lights turned green, indicating that he's telling the truth. However, the video could be staged, as it was the YouTube video Jake's brother Logan Paul.
Are you on performance-enhancing drugs?
If taking Viagra counts, then yes.
I'm gonna need a yes or a no.
No.
That's true.
Lucky you.
Coming to his fight with Perry, Jake labels his opponent as an appetizer to his delayed fight against Mike Tyson, which was supposed to happen on the date of this fight. Jake says that he didn't want to sit around and waste his time in fighting Perry is the right thing for him to polish his skills even further.
First and foremost, I'm on a path to world championships, and I wanted to stay active and get as much experience as I possibly could, and this is a Mike appetizer. I'm still fighting Tyson November 15th, but Mike Perry is a good experienced partner to go in there with, to test my skills, to get better with each fight, and he's just as violent, just as much knockout power as Tyson, and so I believe if I can put my skills to the test against him, then I'll have an easier time with Tyson in November, and I just want to gain as much experience as possible.
However, Jake also believes that Mike Perry is one of the most violent fighters in the world today. Jake says that Perry is a dangerous man, and going up against him is a risk that he's willing to take in order to enhance himself as a fighter. Jake stated, "I believe he's Mike Perry, one of the most violent people on earth. He's undefeated in bare knuckles, which is arguably the craziest sport in the world, so I have a lot of respect for Mike Perry. I know he's a killer. He's a knockout artist. He has got good cardio. He doesn't stop coming forward. So there's a lot of risk, but that's what's propelled me so far in my career. Not slowing down and always challenging myself further and further with each fight." Jake was also surprised by the reaction this fight got when it was announced. Jake believes that he made the right decision by staying active and plans on beating Mike Perry on the fight night.
I was also surprised by the reaction when this fight got announced, and how many people were like, yo, this is even better than the Mike Tyson fight. So that excited me, and I feel like I made the right decision in staying active, and I love to fight. I love to train, and I love the sport of boxing, so might as well just go up under the bright lights and get another knockout because I believe in my skill. I fear no man, which is the motto for this fight, and July 20th, people will see me against maybe my toughest opponent to date and see how easy and quickly I...
Jake has made sure that he'll fight for the world championship in the future. Many have discredited Jake as he has fought UFC veterans who were way past their prime and other not-so-notable names which cannot be considered as a true challenge when it comes to boxing. Now that he's fighting Mike Perry, who is younger than his former opponents and although not a proper boxer, still poses a threat to him, Jake says that he's not stopping for anybody and is eyeing to become a world champion in 2025.
Does that mean 2025 is the year that you're back on the path for a world title? And it's right now, it's like giving the people what they want, and then I'm going back on the grind to get this world title.
Yeah, no, exactly. Not slowing down the train for anybody. And Mike Perry's the perfect person to step in. And I believe in 2025, I will most likely be world champion. It's not even about the path. I think I'm ready for it in the next couple of months here, and I'm most likely going to go for it in 2025.
But in order to achieve the feat of becoming a world champion, Jake has to first beat Mike Perry and then Mike Tyson, and any hiccups in the way could dismantle his plan of achieving the crown. Well, it's obviously a real challenge for Jake to prove himself against a much younger fighter this time. His whole career has been criticized because Jake has never fought young and credible opponents, which was also the main criticism in his fight with the 58-year-old Mike Tyson. During another interview, Jake was also asked about people claiming that Mike Tyson is old and not fit to fight a younger opponent like him. However, Jake replied to this question by saying that it's Mike who's eager to knock him out, and people who have problems with this fight should say these concerns straight to him.
Tell Mike Tyson that, because he does not give a shit what anyone thinks. He's his own boss. He wants to fight me. He told my team, like, I don't give a shit about this. Like, tell Jake I'm still gonna rip his head off and knock him the fuck out, and that this just bought him more time. So tell Mike Tyson not to fight and to chill and see how that goes.
Mike Perry has been making his own waves in the bare knuckle fighting championship himself by reinventing himself and becoming the sport's poster boy. Meanwhile, the UFC's light heavyweight champion, Alex Pereira, is soon rising up in ranks by becoming an unstoppable KO machine, brutally finishing off opponents and looking like the Terminator doing it. So it only makes sense that Perry would want to test himself out against arguably the deadliest striker in the UFC at the moment. He made the call out at a recent podcast with Sean O'Malley on YouTube saying, "I've been thinking about when I beat up Jake, like that's the call out for me. I want to throw hands with Pereira, because like who the else is there for me to throw hands with? He's just clocking everybody left and right." Coming back to the Jake versus Perry fight, there are contradictory opinions on who will win this fight. Sean O'Malley said that Jake fighting Perry is much more interesting than him fighting an old-aged Mike Tyson. O'Malley believes that this is the toughest fight of Jake's career, and he's excited about the matchup.
Mike Perry versus Jake Paul. I think it's more of a competitive match. I think Tyson was just a little bit too, aged, weathered. But I think Mike Perry versus Jake Paul is a very, very interesting, very competitive fight. I think it would be the most competitive fight Jake's had outside of the Tommy Fury fight. I would be very interested to seeing it, and I'm excited to see it. I think it's actually happening July 20th, and I don't know.
O'Malley believes that Paul would win this fight because of his discipline and experience in the sport of boxing. He stated, "I think Jake Paul beats Mike Perry. I think it's more of a competitive match. Mike Tyson is a little bit too aged, weathered. But I think Mike Perry versus Jake Paul is a very interesting, very competitive fight. Probably the most competitive fight that Jake's had outside of Tommy Fury. I'm very interested to see it. That's a tough fight to predict. Mike's in it, but he's in bare knuckle. It's a different sport, different size, space to fight in, range. It's very similar but very different. Jake's been boxing, Mike's been bare knuckle boxing." Former BMF champion George Masvidal believes Mike Perry has got what it takes to beat the brakes off of Jake Paul. The former BMF champion wasn't so much a fan of Paul's originally scheduled boxing match against Mike Tyson on July 20th, seeing as though Paul is half Tyson's age at 27 years old, with the former heavyweight champion turning 58 later this month. However, now Masvidal likes the idea of Jake taking on a younger fighter. He stated, "I like it a lot more than the Tyson fight. He's having health complications. I wasn't motivated to see that fight. I probably wouldn't have seen that fight, but the Perry fight, I'll definitely be tuning in. I'll be watching that fight." Mike Perry might find himself outmatched in terms of pure boxing skill and technique, but Masvidal believes the intangibles will eventually come out to play for Perry as he tries to take Paul's head off for the biggest win and paycheck of his professional fighting career.
Eventually it's going to be a dogfight, I think I can see Jake doing well the first 3 rounds, but then after that it's going to start to become more and more of a fight, and he's really going to have to stand there with Mike, and I think Mike's more man, more dog at the end of the day. He's going to be able to take a shot and give a better shot, break him down, get in there. He's also going to be able to walk down Jake, I think, at some point, and that's going to cost a lot of energy for Jake if he's backing up, just jabbing, moving, backing up, trying to catch his balance. So I'm leaning towards Perry, definitely.
Masvidal believes that Perry would eventually make Jake quit the fight due to the immense pressure coming in Jake's way. He stated, "I think Mike's willing to put himself in risk, and he also knows his abilities that he has, that he takes punches. He could also shield off with the big gloves, get in there and start to crack. I think mentally he's just going to break him down. I just see him walking him down eventually after round 4 and being able to really hurt Jake and get him to quit or knock him out." Jake's former opponent Tyron Woodley got knocked out when he fought him. When asked what Mike Perry should look out for, Woodley stated, Perry knows what it's like to spar Jake Paul. He knows Jake will punch and stick and move. When he fought me, he wasn't trying to knock me down like some of these guys. He was moving around, and I feel like that's the part that Mike Perry has to look out for." Woodley claimed that uppercuts, hooks, and body shots are Perry's most effective weapons. He also noted that closing the gap would be essential for the former UFC fighter. Woodley interestingly compared Perry's style to Mike Tyson's, saying, "He kind of does boxing like Mike Tyson anyway. That's his style. He mimics Mike Tyson. So I think that he's going to give Mike Tyson a little bit of a cheat sheet on closing that gap as well." While Paul has conquered adversity and gone the distance with UFC stars before, the problem child could have a problem on his hands with Perry, who is considered to be a different breed of fighter for his tenacity, shown in and out of the octagon. Daniel Cormier also shared his thoughts on the upcoming boxing showdown between Jake Paul and Mike Perry on July 20. Cormier reckons the fight could play out in one of 2 ways. He claims Perry could win if he can apply his trademark pressure on Paul inside the squared circle. However, DC thinks Perry could put himself in harm's way if he is unable to adjust his movements.
Can Mike Perry stalk him in the way that he stalks these guys in bare knuckle? And does the damage make Jake Paul start to question himself like he did to Luke.
Cormier also acknowledged that Jake Paul possesses significant punching power. DC noted that Paul is going to be bigger than Perry and will have more boxing experience, but questioned whether that would necessarily equate to a win. He stated, "What we've learned about Jake is he possesses enough skills to cause problems for many in the boxing ring. He's going to be bigger than Perry. He's going to have more boxing experience than Perry, but does that equate?" DC predicts Mike Perry to win, but also says that if he isn't cautious at times, Jake could put him down. "If I'm being honest with you, I believe that Mike Perry wins this fight. I think Mike Perry is going to make this fight just ugly enough to beat Jake. But if he doesn't, and if his game plan isn't ideal, he will be finding himself putting himself in dangerous areas, and Jake Paul can crack." Cormier also questioned if Jake would be ready for his fight against Tyson if he takes damage in this fight against Mike Perry. He stated, "Jake is fighting with Mike Perry on July 20th, so 6 weeks. They're gonna fight very soon. He's gonna turn around and fight Mike Tyson again in the fall. It's fast. Does he just anticipate he will take no damage against Mike Perry? November 15 is the date for Paul vs. Tyson at AT&T Stadium. Now he's gonna fight July 20th and November 15th. Michael Bisping believes that Jake Paul is making a huge mistake by facing Perry before Tyson. He believes that Jake's plan could go wrong if he loses against Mike Perry.
He's one of the best boxers on planet Earth. He's the next best boxer of his generation. Okay, he's going to take out Canelo Alvarez and all of this all the while trying to cherry pick opponents that are 58 years old. I say that he has made a big mistake.
Bisping believes that Perry is a real fighter who could pose a threat to Jake Paul. He stated, "Mike Perry is a fighter. Mike Perry wasn't necessarily the best jiu-jitsu artist or had the best wrestling, but there's not a fight Mike Perry won't take. He is the epitome of a real fighter. He's an absolute star in the bare knuckle organization. Jake Paul, I think he's made a tremendous mistake here because Perry is a real fighter. He's going to get in shape. He's not afraid to mix it up, and he's going to go right at Jake Paul." UFC light heavyweight veteran Alexander Gustafsson believes that Mike Perry can knock out Jake Paul. He stated, "Mike Perry is savage. He's a great pressure fighter, and he's right up in your face. He doesn't allow you to breathe. That's the kind of fighter he is. He will mess you up. He is a tough dude, and he's really found his martial art as a competitor in the bare knuckle fighting championship. He's smashing everybody. Jake Paul has proven he can box. He's been doing good. He's a hard puncher, but it's a fight that could go either way, but probably won't go the distance." Sean Strickland talked about being a fan of Mike Perry and how happy he was for his success. Strickland also criticized the younger Paul brother by saying that he was fighting a welterweight and that the two should have fought bare knuckle. Sean stated, "I mean, it is just a clown show. You know, I am actually a big fan of Mike Perry. I am so happy for his success. I hope he gets a bag with this one. But again, you know, Jake Paul, you're fighting a welterweight. Maybe if it was bare knuckle it would be cooler, but it's like me challenging a *** king soccer player to an MMA fight. It just ain't the same dude." Eddie Hearn isn't familiar with Mike Perry, but from what he knows, it's going to be a long night for the BKFC star when he boxes Jake Paul on July 20. Hearn was asked for his take on the fight during an appearance on the M&A Hour, and he gave Perry little chance due to Paul having a considerable size advantage. He stated, "I've never seen Mike Perry fight. Isn't he a welterweight or something? 200 pounds? He's got absolutely no chance." Hearn had some fun with M&A Hour host Ariel Helwani over some past predictions that went awry. Hearn took a jab at Ariel, who he thinks is biased towards the UFC fighters stepping into a boxing ring. He stated, "Ariel, you told me Francis Ngannou was going to beat Anthony Joshua. Stop falling in love with your UFC fighters." However, during his podcast, Joe Rogan brought up Perry's upcoming 8th round battle with Paul at cruiserweight, highlighting how crazy it is that people are actually counting out Mike Perry from having a chance at winning the bout. To this, Brendan Schaub immediately jumped into the conversation, stating, "Bro, it's wild to me." And then in all the comments like, "Oh dude, you must think it's bare knuckle. This is boxing." And I'm like, "Oh, you don't know what a dog Mike Perry is." Joe Rogan called Mike Perry a game-bred pit bull and said that he's a dangerous man.
No, quit. He's a game-bred pit bull. He's gonna get in your face for all 8 of those rounds. And he was like, "Oh, this is a gimmick fight." I'm like, "You're a moron." But you're in the Mike Tyson fight? Get the out of here. Yeah, Mike Perry's dangerous. That's a super
So what are your thoughts about this fight? Do you think that Mike Perry would be a tough challenge for Jake Paul? Do you think that Jake Paul would become a world champion in 2025? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.